Welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. You have our fan blaring in the background because it's not 10,000 degrees anymore, but it's still pretty warm. We'll try to edit out any noises. We today discovered a group that came across my Twitter feed, actually. It's just in my timeline, called Blood Moon Paranormal. And their tweet was that they're having basically trouble getting YouTube to push out their programming so that people can find them, and which is a shame. I find it unfair that they really help some people but not others, and those damn algorithms. Anyway, I said that we would give it their show a watch and a review, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, to start off, the one that we chose was their most recent, which is, it's the Sally House, and they've called it Child Spirit or Evil Entity, the Sally House. Now, the first thing right off the bat is it was a very professional introduction.
Well done.
Yeah, very well done, with a splash screen with their name and a bunch of stuff, and introducing himself, Zach, who is the main, lead investigator, and a little bit about what his team does. So he's got a fairly large team, which is nice. And then they did a very good history on the Sally House. So I think it was a local historian. I got more out of this history of the Sally House than I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
Just little bits that had been not discussed before.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found very interesting, if it's true, and they did say that they don't know, it appears Sally was probably a patient whose mom brought her to the house because Dr. Finney, who was the doctor, like a lot of places back in the day, they would do their business on the ground floor and live upstairs. So the ground floor was his clinic, hospital type place. He did surgeries and everything there. So what they figure was, or what they've heard, the rumor was, that Sally was taken there by her mother, screaming in pain. The doctor figured it was probably appendicitis. And he knew then you've got to, do surgery and take that nasty old appendix out right away. Well, something went wrong with the anesthesiology because the child wasn't completely under as much as they thought when he started cutting. So she was screaming through the whole thing. She bled a lot and bled out and died right on his operating table. So, the historian said that there is no record of any of this anywhere. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened, because this is interesting. So this event happened in 1906, they figure. Now, Charles Finney, the doctor, ran for mayor in 1913, so 7 years later, and there is a question of whether he had all the stories wiped from the archives. So basically had the stories removed from the archives, which is a possibility. I mean, everything's on paper then, it's easy to do, right? Yeah. So there is that possibility that it is true, and Sally is not somebody who lived in the house, but someone who was brought there. What she did say, the historian, is there were 3 other known spirits in the home. There's an Anna and an Emily. She didn't really explain who that was. Yeah. I think that might be children. And Dr. Charles Finney, who is the dark presence that people feel the most. Apparently he's not a very nice man. He, in his life, always lived in the shadow of his father, and so he always struggled to overcome his father's shadow. And that, I guess, can turn someone into a miserable old fart, which is what he became. They also had a little interview with Johnny Hauser, who is the caretaker of the Velasca Axe Murder House. They had a little interview there because there's a lot of discussion whether that house is somehow related to the Sally House. I don't know if that's true. I suppose it's possible.
I've heard that a few times.
But again, I don't know if it's the same story being repeated over and over, because it's something new, so people are sharing the information back and forth. So is it true? I don't know.
Telephone.
Yeah, it's like the game of telephone. It's just different cities, and it's, 50 or 60 miles down the road from each other.
Yeah.
So if Sally is not a little demon, then the story is crap. So, yeah, that would make that story not true. And people really want to believe that Sally is a demon for the most part, from everything that I hear. Everybody wants Sally to be a demon.
Right.
But these fellas have not said that she is or not. They're there actually with a pretty open mind, and I really like that. Anyway, then they go in, and they start off the investigation with the two females that are there, going upstairs to the 3rd floor. So they go up to the 3rd floor, and the guys go down into the basement. So I like that separation of investigators.
Yeah.
So you hopefully don't have any contamination going on, and that's very good too. And let's see, they have all kinds of equipment. The first one that they talk about is the Spirit Talker, which is an app on the phone. And Zach says he likes it because it has phrases, unlike the obelisk, but they use them kind of both in the course of the investigation. But he says the app, the Spirit Talker sometimes just has, and I quote, jibber jabber.
They all do.
They all have a lot of jibber jabber, and you do have to watch for relevance. And I like hearing that. I like hearing that they're not just going to take everything as gospel, because it isn't. We know that. I mean, we've gotten some wild things sometimes. It's just not true.
Yeah.
You have to take it in context. So that was interesting, and I like to hear that. What do you think so far?
Well, so far it was good. Like, I really enjoyed these guys. They seem to get their shit together, and I like the way they interact with one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not a, you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. They work cohesively.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed this.
I like the way they did the Estes too, back to back.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
There was a spot where the Spirit Talker was going crazy.
Yes.
And it was just listing letters and then the occasional wording. And they even said that they've never seen this before.
Somebody should find out and see if that the letters make any sense. Any words.
I wonder if, I don't know, I'm not familiar with this app. So guys, if you're listening, and I know you're going to have a listen, does this app make a log of all those things that it spits out? Because you might be onto something. Maybe it's trying to spell out some words. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting thing. But what you were saying is their Estes experiment was interesting. They decided to do a double, they said. So that was like two people sitting back to back. That was really cool. I've never seen that before. I've seen people do, one then the other and then compare notes. But this was kind of interesting because they were able to ask similar questions, or the one person was asking the question and they're both responding. Sometimes it didn't make sense, but sometimes those were bang on. The responses were almost identical or complementing each other. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
For the most part, though, this investigation was fairly quiet, which is not unusual. Happens. Ghosts do not dance on command, despite what some people might try to convince you of. But I'm not going to say.
Not everything is evil.
Not everything is evil or a demon. That's right. We know exactly where we're going with that, so we're not. They did continue investigating for the rest of the evening on each level of the building. I don't know if they investigated as much on the main floor. I think they did a little bit, but not much. And I don't know why that was. I guess people say the hot spots are upstairs in the basement. But, if the doctor did a lot of his work on the main floor, to me, that's where you'd want to be.
Well, I forget the those two guys that we used to watch, they slept in the kitchen, remember?
Ah, yes. That was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were scared.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, but, you know, you're right. The doctor's office would be on the main floor.
Yeah.
So I think people forget that.
They forget that part, yeah. They're looking for what they hear, the historical stuff that everybody's saying. Oh, we got this upstairs, and oh, we got this downstairs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, ghosts move around. They do. You know that.
And, exactly.
But this was, like I said, it wasn't super, super busy as far as phenomenon went, which I know these guys were a little bit disappointed with. I would have been too. I mean, you go wanting to find stuff. And he said that despite its notorious reputation, it was fairly quiet. And that's the thing too, you know, you get the reputation out there for whatever. And sometimes I think it's the owners of these places that hype up all this stuff because it gets people going back. It gets their name out for ghost hunters who want to go and stir up more crap rather than just a real investigation.
And I would sooner listen and watch an honest ghost hunt without all the, making up stuff.
You don't need to make it up. Yeah. So these guys, I was really impressed with the camera work. The editing was very good. There's a few little glitches that I saw that I went, ooh, 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 but it wasn't enough to throw me off.
No.
And you know what? They had full credits at the end. I am...
They ticked off everyone.
They ticked off every box I have. I just love these guys, and I am going to definitely watch some more because I'm curious to see how another investigation goes. They said in this video that they did Velasca the night before, so I might want to go back and watch that. We did click the subscribe button so that we can follow along with these fellas and see how well they do. We really did enjoy it. This is such a short little episode because there's not a whole lot to well, I guess we could keep commenting. I mean, I could talk about anything, but
usually. Did I
Thank
say
you.
that's
you said that out loud. That's right. Yeah. But these guys, they were good. If you have not checked them out yet, please check the link below and check them out. I think they're certainly worth following. And they're certainly worth watching. They know what they're doing. They are respectful. I think I only heard maybe one curse word.
Oh.
So, I mean, I think they even try to keep that on track, not like some of the ones that we've seen where it's, every 5 seconds is another, F-bomb, which happens when people get excited, and I understand that. But there's a certain amount of professionalism that you want to portray if you're going to take this seriously, and I think that's part of it. You don't have to care what you're saying if you're not going to put these up for public consumption. If you're just doing a private investigation, you can drop them all you want, just you and your crew. But if you're going to, put these up on YouTube or another medium, then you certainly do want to have that manner of professionalism, and these guys do. And I really enjoyed them. So, by all means, folks, you want to check these guys out if you haven't already. Follow them along.
Yeah, they're really good, and I think you would enjoy it too.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's our very down and dirty quick episode for today. Thanks for listening. Go check out Blood Moon Paranormal. Let us know what you think. By all means, give us a message or drop us a comment and let us know. Have yourselves a good day. Stay cool out there.
Happy hunting.
Happy haunting. Bye now.